I'm the Red Lady, and today I'm going to talk about Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. Now, the subject of Hecate is vast. There is so much to learn about Hecate that you couldn't possibly fit it all into one video. Her mysteries are intricate and run so deep that I don't think anyone would ever in a lifetime learn all there is to know about Hecate. For me, it's been over a decade since I first started working with Hecate. It's been about 11 years now. And as a practitioner of shamanic witchcraft, I was thrust into working with spirits by way of a life-altering initiation, and began working with various spirits that introduced themselves to me and helped me develop my psychic faculties. So I have a video about my shamanic initiation. If you're interested, I'll put a link to that in the description box below. So for me, working with the spirits came first about 18 years ago, and witchcraft, specifically more the practical side of witchcraft, came later on. And it was only when I felt a pull towards Hecate and began working with her that I really started to literally get my hands dirty, working with herbs and oils, mixing my own herbal powder blends, putting spells together and setting up an altar. So I just like to say the visuals that I've used in this video are pictures I've taken over the years of working with Hecate, particularly with regards to plants and herbs. And it's been hard work. The altars are not built for any YouTube film aesthetic or glamour. They are real working altars that I have spent a lot of time at with Hecate. And at first I wasn't sure whether she wanted me to share them publicly, but I found myself scouting through all my old photos to find a specific one of the altar that I first used for Hecate. I wasn't even sure if I had a photo of it, but I did, and it kind of went from there. So Hecate really wants me to get across a few things in this video that really is an introduction to working with her, for this first video that I'm doing with Hecate and on Hecate. So in this video, because it's the first video, I'm only going to focus on a few things. So I will talk about setting up an altar and putting out that first call to Hecate to invite her to teach you about witchcraft. And I'll talk a little bit about the importance of growing your own plants and herbs. And I'll talk about what to expect and what signs to look out for that Hecate has heard your call, or signs that she is communicating with you, because she is extremely powerful and will send you very clear signs. It's very possible that she may even send you signs before you put out the call or before you have invited her. Deities know that they are going to be working with you even before you know it yourself. They know past, present and future. They know exactly what kind of person you are, and it's highly likely that they have held an interest in you for quite some time if they are the ones calling to you. So if you're strongly drawn to witchcraft and strongly drawn to working with Hecate and feel her presence around you before you have officially invited her in, then it's likely that you were born for it. And as I said, she may well already have a vested interest in you and is pushing you towards officially starting your journey with her. So if you are already on your journey with Hecate and have stumbled across this video, then there may be a message in here for you somewhere or something, because I'm also going to talk a little bit about my own experience with Hecate, not too much, be a bit thrown in here and there, because I could put a lot of that into other videos or another video to focus on that. So if you're practicing witchcraft and you've got to a point where you're thinking about connecting to a deity to help yourself progress and learn more, then that's great. But if you wanted to connect with the deity for any type of shallow reason, should I say, or you're not taking it seriously, or you think it's some kind of game, then I would advise you wait until you are absolutely certain you're ready. Because working with the deity and Hecate specifically, you are bringing in the big guns into your personal practice. They know what's in your heart. They know if you're approaching them with respect or if you are not. Working with Hecate requires you to actually get your hands dirty. The images that I've used here, and I've been carefully selected to demonstrate how hard you work when you're working with plants and herbs, in particular, when working in depth with Hecate. If she sees an aptitude in you for being serious about growing plants, herbs, even vegetables, she'll get you working on that. It's sometimes it's not acceptable to Hecate to buy pre-grown, dried out plants or plants that have been grown by someone else if you are capable of growing your own and you're serious about working with Hecate with plants and herbs. So if you have the garden space, and my garden really isn't that big, to be honest, and I can fit a fair amount in there, then she will get you planting your own seeds and growing your own plants, because you can only truly learn and know a plant spirit when you have grown that plant yourself from seed. When you have nurtured it, taken care of it, and sometimes then let it run wild. That's how you learn with plants, because there's only so much that you can learn about plants from a book. If you're in the city and don't have a garden, then you can just as easily grow a few different plants in pots on your windowsill. As long as you make the effort to grow something from seed, that makes all the difference to building your relationship with Hecate. So, setting up an altar to Hecate. An altar is a space to connect with deity and the unseen, and spirits in general. It is a sacred space that is put to one side specifically for that reason, and it acts as a portal between the material world and the spirit world. So the more you learn and grow, the more that space will change over time. So if you're looking to work with Hecate on a more permanent basis, then an altar is definitely the way to go. Now, I'm going to suggest a few things that you can put on your altar to Hecate, things that she is associated with and things that she likes. But, and there is a big but here, suggest is the key word. Now, a lot of magical practitioners that work with certain deities like to tell you, they like to tell people in general that they must have this on the altar or they must have that. Especially when it comes to Hecate and witchcraft. Honestly, you can put whatever you want on your altar, because it is nobody else's business what you put on your altar. What goes on your altar is between you and Hecate and no one else. So it's come to my mind as well that I've not yet done a video specifically on altars and not specifically to Hecate, but altars in general. And I'm thinking that maybe I should, so that could well be coming up at some point in the near future. Anyway, an altar to Hecate. First of all, I want to say that if you don't have that much money, or if you're flat broke, you don't have to spend any money in order to set up an altar. Deities and spirits, and especially Hecate in my experience, do understand when you really can't afford to buy stuff. As long as they can see, or in this case Hecate can see that you have gone out of your way to find a little altar space, no matter how big or small, a small table or a shelf or a little space on the floor in the corner or whatever, you can, you find a space and the thought has gone into it. The absolute simplest altar, if you are flat broke, would be a candle and a glass of water as an offering, and that's it. That is it. If that's all you can do, then she will know, and that's cool. But making the effort to gather a few more appropriate and corresponding items that are associated with her would be a good thing to do. Obviously, if you have money available and you want to spend money dressing your altar, and you actively go shopping for these items, whether you're looking for second-hand items or brand new items or shopping around online, then Hecate will be aware of this. So don't be surprised if you feel a pull towards a specific item or items. In my experience, I found she does this when she knows you are shopping for her, and even if the item is a little bit out of your intended price range, or sometimes a lot out of your intended price range, it's because she really wants it on the altar. And if money is an issue, you know, you can easily find a great picture of Hecate online and just print it off. If you have a printer, or go to the library and print it off, you can put the picture in a nice frame that you already have, or laminate it, or even just glue it to a piece of card or whatever. I have a wooden carved image of Hecate that she wanted me to order from the Ukraine just before the war broke out, and it was a hand carved and quite a bit out of my price range actually. It's one of my more expensive pieces for definite, but since I had been working with her for a long time, and up until that point I'd had a laminated picture of her that I'd printed off the internet, and she was fine with that. So anyway, I got the carving, and it was worth it because it is quite stunning, and I thought she deserved to have it, and that I also deserve to have it, and I'm really glad that I got it. The point is, it's making the effort that counts. If you're making the effort to find the perfect representation of Hecate, whether you're printing out a picture off the internet and gluing it or whatever, or buying something, she knows that the effort has been put in. And when working with Hecate, if she can see you're making an effort, then that effort is reciprocated by her. Hecate likes people to do their research. Try and learn as much as you can about her. Do your research on her myths and legends, her association with the underworld. There are a lot of books out there and YouTube videos out there on Greek mythology and Hecate, so have a look around and familiarise yourself with her stories. She has many different associations, three-way crossroads, entranceways and keys. So you could, if you can, place your altar near the main entrance to your home. My main entrance goes straight into the kitchen, and so her altar in my house faces the entrance in the kitchen, with the point being that she is facing or guarding the entranceway. The other Other reason for keys, entranceways, that she is the gatekeeper to spiritual realms, different spiritual realms. Dogs are another association for Hecate, especially bitches. They are sacred to her. I have a black dog, a working spaniel, and her bed is in the kitchen, close to Hecate's altar. For future reference, I definitely want to go more in depth in future videos on Hecate about her mysteries associated with black dogs and what happens when you begin working with Hecate, when you have a dog about the house, and other strange interactions that you have with dogs when working with Hecate, because it is really, really interesting. So I definitely want to do a video on that as well. Anyway, yew trees are another association, as are daggers, flaming torches, serpents, garlic, ropes, all herbs and plants, specifically poison plants. I have found that she particularly likes lavender and mugwort. Her number is number 3, and her colour is black. But I also associate her more personally with colour purple as well, a dark purple. Those are some of the more known associations with Hecate, and they're well-known associations with Hecate. I mean, there are tons more. There are a lot more associations, and I suggest some research on that. As I said, I can't fit everything into one video. I'm likely to do several or more videos on Hecate, to be honest. Those are some of the things I suggest, that you could put on your altar to Hecate or research. But as I said, it's nobody else's business what goes on your altar, really. So put on it whatever you feel guided to put on there via your own intuition or with guidance from Hecate. On black candle, or any candle that you have to hand if you don't have money to specifically buy a black candle. I generally use black or dark purple candles depending on what I'm burning them for. Black is a classic representation of witchcraft, occult wisdom, all things hidden, protection. You can carve Hecate's name into the candle along with the words witchcraft, protection and wisdom, or any other words that represent what you want Hecate to teach you, or what it is you would like her to communicate with you. So you should cleanse your altar space and any items that you place on the altar before you put them on there. You can give them a good clean. Plain water will do if you don't have anything else, or you can make a cleansing wash by steeping mugwort or rosemary or any other cleansing herbs in hot water and then cleaning the altar and items with that. You can also use sound by ringing a bell to shift any negative or stagnant energy. Okay, so you've set up your altar, you've cleansed and you've lit your candle. Ideally, this should be after dark, by the way. If you are working with Hecate for the first time, it is best to work with Hecate at night when it is dark. Some devotees of hers say that she only communicates with you or only keeps after dark hours, but I have found that she can, and she does communicate with you in the daytime, quite a lot if need be, but she does prefer the night, to be perfectly honest. And when you are putting out a call to her for a first communication attempt, I would recommend doing this at night, purely because of etiquette and respect. If you do this in the day and not at night because of some sort of flimsy excuse, such as, I'll be too tired then, or there's a show I want to watch on TV at that time, or whatever, that's not respectful. When attempting to communicate with Hecate, especially for the first time, you should go out of your way to make time to do this at her preferred time, not yours. You can say a simple prayer to her out loud or in your mind, asking her to work with you and teach you about witchcraft. I'm not going to tell you word for word what you should or shouldn't say. Just be natural, be yourself, be respectful, and that should be enough. Now, how do you know if she has heard you? What are the signs to look out for? Everyone is different, and communication between yourself and a deity is a highly personal thing. In my experience, Hecate will immediately make herself known to you, especially if you already have some psychic skills about you. You may become aware of a strong presence around you. Ask her for protection and ask her to help you with staying grounded. You may hear the barking, howling or baying of neighbourhood dogs. If there are other people living around you close by, if you're not too far out in the sticks, hearing dogs, that's a classic sign that Hecate has heard you or that she's around. I find this happens a lot when Hecate is trying to get my attention and when she is around in general. This is a sign that she has acknowledged you and is willing to work with you. Also, if nothing of significance happens straight away, don't worry. There are other signs, such as you may dream about Hecate or dogs shortly after at some point, or you may notice an unusual amount of dogs crossing your path when you are going about your daily business during the next few days. There may be an unusual amount of black dogs specifically, although they don't have to be black. They could be any colour. If there are a lot of dogs that you're noticing crossing your path, then that you've never really noticed before, then that could be a sign as well. So if you have a dog or dogs at home, your dog may temporarily act out of character or do something unusual, so take note of that also. Dreams, any other intuitive or psychic insights you might have may be signs that Hecate has heard your call and is willing to assist you with your witchcraft journey. Also, dreaming about plants. Now, when I began working with Hecate, I dreamt, and this was before I started really doing any kind of planting or gardening. I didn't really know anything about it at all. I had a dream that I was talking to this huge yew tree and it spoke back to me, and it was an extremely profound dream of this yew tree, because when a deity reaches out to communicate with you through the dream state, those dreams have a certain quality to them that transcends the usual dream state, and it transcends what we perceive as real. They are extremely vivid and they seem more than real, if that makes sense. They're much more clearer than the average dream when a deity is reaching out to communicate with you through a dream. It's almost as if that dream is like a super dream. It's ramped up. It's so clear. So anyway, any psychic insights that you may have may be instantaneous or may arrive in the next few days. Another thing that may happen, and this is that you may be randomly gifted with something that corresponds to Hecate that you can put on her altar or use in some way. The gods do work through others, and this is a powerful sign because that would be Hecate influencing someone to gift you with an item. Therefore, the item is also a gift from Hecate herself. Especially when that person has nothing to do with witchcraft or has no idea about what it is that you're doing with Hecate. So you could put this on your altar or use it in some other way. You certainly should thank her for her acknowledging you. If you get a clear acknowledgement, and I would recommend making some sort of offering, or at least a well thought out gesture of goodwill to her in return. Working with Hecate, as with any deity or spirit, is about building relationship and building good rapport, as you might do with any new friend. I suppose you could do it another way. You could put out a call to Hecate after dark with a simple candle and a prayer, and then build your altar with her afterwards. There are no hard and fast rules here. At least I found that using your intuition and your own instincts serves you better with Hecate, because she likes people who think for themselves and those who are open to guidance from her. Of course, you can follow any preset instructions from any witchcraft book to set up an altar for beginners, and that will work. But as time goes on and you learn more, the tendency to switch things around to suit your own purposes and according to what Hecate has taught you or has shown you is likely to happen. So the altar kind of grows with you, and you add things and then you take things away, and you just switch things up, all the time. If you're so inclined, you can group items on your altar in 3s or multiples of 3, or you can simply stick to 3 items to start with. That's very simple. And as you learn more about Hecate and her associations, such as ropes, for example, or and why she is associated with ropes or torches or whatever, then you could add the item after you've learned more about it, rather than just putting the items on the altar without any clear understanding of why they're on there to begin with, and why those items are associated with her or are sacred to her. If you have a garden, Hecate may guide you to get more involved with planting your own herbs and other types of plants. I certainly found that I was getting my hands dirty in the garden to learn about the plants I was using and why I was using them in my spellcraft. If you are going to learn about plants and the spirits of the plants you work with, then the best thing is to start by growing them from seed if you can. Growing them from seed is a much better way to learn than just buying a ready seeded plant in a pot, or just buying pre-prepared dried out herbs, or using herbs from your cupboard in your witchcraft. Now, there's nothing wrong with using what you have to hand for your witchcraft, but when you're working in depth with Hecate, she may well expect you to literally grow your own. Again, I could do tons of videos on this, so I really need to get myself into gear, because Hecate has taught me so much about working with plants and growing them that I feel I need to pass a lot of that information on. So I will be doing more videos on plants and gardening with Hecate very soon. It's springtime now, and I've planted up a lot of seeds over the last week or so, and those seeds will be starting to sprout up soon, so those videos will be coming. Last but not least, being a writer and a blogger, Hecate did encourage me to write my own handbook, An Introduction to Shamanic Witchcraft. This was quite a few years ago now. It's a beginner's guide and has a lot of information on everything from initiation to working with animals, spirits and candle magic, and crystals, colours, herbs, planetary associations. It explains the basics of grounding and protecting your energy, developing your psychic faculties, and it also introduces some of the spirits that I work with. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description box if you want to check it out. That book really was co-written with Hecate, I would say, because it was certainly her that encouraged me to write it, and she was there every step of the way. So that's called The Red Lady, An Introduction to Magic and Shamanic Witchcraft. Yeah, that's about it for this video. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and please check out the relevant links in the description box below. Thanks for your time.